All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is a big day for our country. Election night. I know a number of people were wondering why we're still having a board meeting on election night, but we still have a business to run, so we're here. But that said, we will be pretty brief tonight. So as we always do, we're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone please rise, and Director Commission, if you'd please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, let's verify a quorum.
Director Bill?
Here.
Director Commission?
Here.
Director Doherty? President Van Vliet?
Here.
Director Cook absent. Hearing 4 here. Quorum met.
Perfect. We have quorum. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting on October 1st?
Motion. Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Hearing 4 in favor. Motion carries.
All right. Perfect. Moving right along, we have Darcy Burke. Director Burke, would you please join us?
Thank you, President Van Vliet, board members, staff, neighbors, friends. Just a couple of things. It is election night, and for Elsinore Valley, we will have a new director for sure in the morning, hopefully. As you know, Jack Ferguson resigned from our board, and so we have a vacancy. So there are 3 individuals running, so we'll find out in the morning who that is. So I'll let you know next month who we pick. November 14th, the board will decide or consider a 46% increase to our capacity fees. I know we've discussed it at Roundtable, Bill, a number of times. It's not something I'm supportive of in any way, shape, or form. The challenge is that we are an agency that is 35% built out, and we are in the fastest growing county in the state, the second fastest growing county, believe it or not, in the country. And that's only because people are moving from LA and Orange County and San Diego to our region. So there's no infrastructure in the ground. So we have to put infrastructure in the ground. And the way our state constitution reads under Proposition 26 is new development pays for new development. So if you're a developer, those capacity fees have to pay for that new part of the system that the new residents or businesses are going to put on. I don't believe that's sustainable for our economy, that we want it to grow. And that also means that if you have an empty lot here and you want to put in a new meter, your fees go up the same that same day. So if you were to pull a meter, say on December 31st versus it'll probably be June 1st, it's a 46% increase, and that's for water and wastewater. So my proposal back to my board is we need to find a different way to structure our rates and to pay for these. It's not unending money. It's not really free money from DC. It's just a rebate, or from the state. It's all coming out of the same wallet, so I understand that. So that's going to be probably a very contentious meeting. So we'll see how that goes. But I have a really hard time supporting something that I know will directly impact the livelihood of those that in our community that rely on economic development. So, and if we want our kids to be able to afford a house here, those fees all add up, whether it's the city, the county, the state, the utilities, it all adds up and makes it unaffordable. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that's happening. I had a few comments on social media about people concerned about their water bills or water service bills. So Mayor Dale Welty and I will have coffee again in the morning. So if you're available to come 7:30 and bring your bill, I'll go happy to go through it. Also, we have a really attentive customer service staff that will walk you through the bill as well. If you sign up for AquaHawk on our website, that will alert you to leaks. My toilet was leaking this week, so I had the pleasure of having that fixed as well. And AquaHawk alerted me that I had a problem. So it does work. It'll send you an email or a text message, whatever your preference is. So I'd encourage you to do that. There's also a lot of conversation out in the world right now about fluoride. So if you have, I'm not going to go into fluoride right now. I was part of the task force that had to do outreach when Metropolitan put fluoride into the system. And I don't know what exactly is going to happen as we move forward after a recent court case, but I can tell you that California mandates large water utilities to put fluoride into the drinking water. So if you're concerned about that, I'm also happy to talk to you. People have my cell phone number. Again, Mayor Welty and I will have coffee at the Country Club tomorrow at 7:30. I guess if we have power, being that SCNE may shut the power off intermittently from 3 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Thursday. So, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Darcy said the capacity fees are going to go up 40 some odd percent. Is that, and that means, and you said that would be for if you had a new meter put in or something like that. What,
Yeah.
Does that include your normal water usage?
No, that's just to put the meter. That's to pull
Just-
the meter and connect to the sewer system. That's $39,900.
So do it before June 1st.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if we can find another way to pay for it, they won't be almost 40 grand.
Sure, it's a lot.
It's just, to me, just seems obscene.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. And this is not a dig on my other board members. We have to figure out how to pay for that. It's either going to come out of one pocket or another, but I think we can do a better job.
So Darcy, I had one more question. That is, noticing the lake, it's dropped about a foot in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
Can you tell me, have it been extra hot, or what is maybe the cause of that?
Actually, every year we fire up our Canyon Lake water treatment plant, even though it's offline. So in case of emergency, we know it works. So this will probably be the last year we do it. We did turn it on. We turned it on for a couple of days to make sure it worked, and it did draw the lake down. We are going to start construction next fall. So we actually had a meeting today with Tuscany HOA because the trucks are going to go through Tuscany. All those trucks are going to go through Tuscany. And I wanted the HOA to have plenty of heads up about that, especially because you have an elementary school there. And that would be the route of egress and ingress into our construction site. So we're going to have to work on that plan. But we do fire it up every year, even if it's offline, just to make sure in case of emergency, we can pull water and deliver water.
So the good news is it's easier to get your boat through the tunnel.
You're welcome.
And if you happen to be putting in a seawall, now is the time to do it, I imagine. Right?
Yeah, hurry, boys and girls, because this is it. Okay. Especially if it's going to be wet or dry. And if you ask a water resources person, they will answer that question as to yes.
True. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Darcy, you were talking about other alternatives as opposed to just raising those rates. Do you have any that you're bringing up at this meeting? And would it help to have some people attend from here? Because I know your attendance isn't the best and we'd like to get some people here to support you.
So obviously, I mean, I don't want this to be a bashing situation because the only thing in front of the board right now would be to accept the fees or not. So one of the proposals I have brought forward, and this is also not popular, but I'll give you the difference of price in my proposal. When you take some of your fixed fees and you put them on your property tax bill, it might be $25 a year. That same fixed fee in a water rate or a sewer rate can be $600 to $800 a year. So although I'm not a fan of taxes, I'd rather pay $25 than $800. And that's also because you're spreading it over every parcel, whether it's developed or not. So everybody's sharing the pain. One of the other things that I think we need to look at is there are some communities that surround us that are really promoting tourism. I think they want to dream extreme. And that's an impact to our sewer system. Let's just talk about those flowers, right? The sewer system, it was intense when all those people came, right? So not only were they using every restroom, but they were using all the porta potties, and all those porta potties also get dumped into our wastewater system. So there should be an impact fee, I think, for tourism as well. So they have a visitor's tax and tourism rate that says you pay that every time you stay at a hotel. There should be a portion, I think, that comes back to utilities to help offset those that live here all the time. They're helping to pay for their ability to do that. So these are just some of the ideas I brought forward. I know the property tax part is legal if it's fixed. I can't put variable rate stuff on there, but I can put fixed. I can put infrastructure on there. I don't think anybody's ever talked about the visitor and tourism tax. I know a good friend of mine in Orange County who is president of the Hospitality Association was not pleased when I brought that up in my podcast. He did call me, but at this point, I want to consider everything because I just don't know how people that are barely making it right now. And if you look around our community, there are people even in our community. I don't want you to have to pick between, if you're a senior citizen, do I pay for my medicine? Do I pay for my groceries? Or do I pay for my water bill? That's just obscene to me. You're welcome.
Thank you, Darcy. Appreciate you
Thank
coming.
you. Have a good night.
You too. All right. I don't believe we have someone from the city here today, so we'll move on to a community patrol update.
Good evening. For the month of September, we had 0 calls of service in regards to speeding, and 12 citations were issued by patrol officers and their vehicles using radar. We had a total of 49 calls for service in regards to parking, with 61 citations issued. We had 25 calls come in from the gates for unauthorized entry, which 4 of those led to people not complying, which led to a citation being issued. We had 9 calls in regards to e-bikes, with 29 citations issued by patrol officers. We had 20 calls in regards to noise complaints, but 0 citations were issued from community patrol. We had no calls in regards to for failure to stop at a stop sign, but 35 citations were issued by patrol officers. 2 times people were found riding inside of a boat or illegal towing down the streets of Canyon Lake, so 2 citations were issued. We had a total of 354 calls for service. 22 of those we were unable to locate. 60 citations were issued to guests, 0 were issued to service providers, and 145 citations were issued to members. 102 of those citations were warnings. 43 speed trailer citations were issued. 6 vandalism reports were found. 22 property damage reports were submitted. And 48 other violations were found throughout the community, with 4 citations issued for failure to stop at a school bus stop. Our gates went ahead and collected 176 passes from individuals that were not supposed to be entering the community for such reasons such as no driver's license, no longer on the list, or just flat out the wrong individual trying to enter the property. We spent an additional 25 minutes at the main gate to assist with traffic to allow people to have better entry when entering the community.
Thank you, Zach. Anyone have any comments, questions for?
Question on e-bike citations. You have been pretty consistent. August was 30, September was 29. You may not have this with you, but what is the breakdown? What are most of the citations for? What's second place? Is it helmets, registration, whatever?
I'll give you a top 3. We have registration, you have double riders, or you will have just individuals with reckless behavior. So doing wheelies down the street and along with other things.
You had 2 citations, illegal riding, towing. I'm just curious, what is meant by illegal towing? Is it someone helping out someone with a golf cart?
No, that's more of you're towing a boat down the street, and instead of having your passengers that were in the boat while you're on the lake, they are still in the boat while you're towing on the street, which is a very large safety hazard happening at that time.
Also, this isn't a question. I want to actually commend you guys on the school bus enforcement. It may look like there's not much happening because there's only 4 citations there. But for those that don't know, when the school bus comes into the lake, community patrol follows those buses. So if there's anyone passing them, they're right there. They follow them. They make sure it's safe. They've got a guy right there. So the fact that there's only 4 shows that the community is being conscientious around the school buses. And I'm hoping we can get that number down to 0, not by you guys ignoring them, but by you doing your job and we get it down to 0. So thank you for that.
Couple of follow-up questions. Ken, how many people do we have signed up for the camera program?
We broke triple digits. We're at 101.
All right. And how many E-bike registrations do we have to date?
714, I believe I reported earlier.
Very good. Great. Anyone else? Thank you for the good work. Keep it up, guys. Thank you. All right. Next, we would like to recognize an exemplary member of the month, and Director Bill will lead that for us.
So this month, our member of the month is the world famous Perry Beggs. The board nominated Perry to recognize him for his contributions to Canyon Lake. And there he is trying to hide. So Perry, as most people know, is the president of the Canyon Lake Car Club. And Perry, with his helpful, giving attitude, along with his work ethic, has opened the doors, no pun intended, for the car club to grow exponentially. On a personal note, even though I have worked on, restored, and raced cars for years, when I first moved here, I had no interest in joining the car club until I saw all the positive changes that Perry has put into the club. Under Perry's leadership and growing the car club, he's helped many in the community come together, develop friendships, foster a sense of community with a bunch of people who would never even meet each other before if it wasn't for Perry. One of the things most people don't know about Perry outside of being the car club president is his compassion for others. We all know about the Canyon Lake Car Show, which Perry and his team put together every year, but this is also where Perry uses his reach to help out with charitable organizations such as Helping Hands, which assists low-income seniors and the homeless. And within Canyon Lake, Perry has volunteered with the Family Matters group. He's volunteered to help with the Guild with the Harborfest concert and other clubs and organizations. And just the other day, Perry was, and this is why I asked Zach that question about towing golf carts. Just the other day, Perry was spotted helping some kids whose golf cart had broken down. I didn't want to get him in trouble. So, well, most people would just pass by people in this situation, especially teenagers, not Perry. When he spotted them straining to push the golf cart home, Perry pulled over, offered to tow them home like the good neighbor he is. Best part of this story, at the time, Perry was wearing an Old Guys Rule shirt. And by the time he was done helping those kids, their comments were, "Old guys really do rule." So not only did he help them, he taught them a lesson. So one of the other things that's interesting about Perry, he doesn't just work on cars. If you guys ever get a chance to hitch a ride with Elon or the Amazon guy up to the moon, you'll find Perry's love for mechanical things extend beyond our local cars, as you'll find pieces, equipment on the moon that Perry's name is on it. He's just universally famous. And that's from his days working in the aerospace industry. So at this time, I'd like to ask Perry to come up front here and give a speech so we can show him our gratitude for his community involvement and contributions by presenting him with this certificate of thanks from the POA. No, you're front and center, buddy. We're not letting you off the hook.
Well, all I can say is just, I just love Canyon Lake. Been here over 20 years, and I absolutely love it. People, I love living here and being a part of the community. I work with the park club, a lot of amazing people in the community. Come out, see our cars and coffee every second Saturday. It's open to all Canyon Lake. Come down, see what we're about. Meet some nice people and look at some pretty cool cars. And free donuts and coffee while they last. They get close to running out, so we'd love to have the whole community come out and support it. So that's all I got. Here you go.
We've got a couple of quick announcements. Do you want to go ahead and give it, Andrea, on, on what might happen in the next 48 hours?
Okay, just a quick announcement. Edison's notified us that they could possibly turn the power off here in Canyon Lake. We may not have no power starting tomorrow morning, and we may not have power till Thursday. Community patrol is on it to make sure the gates and everything's going to be taken care of. We want to make sure the community is aware. We've posted a lot of things on our social media, so and operations will be on top of it also. So we just want to make sure that everyone's aware that we're covering it just in case your power does go off. We want to let you know we're taking care of it.
Thanks, Andrea. A couple of other just early warning announcements. On Wednesday this week, tomorrow that would be, assuming we have power, we will be having a meeting with the club presidents. So all of the presidents of all the various clubs have been invited for a dialogue with the POA, and we'll be doing that tomorrow evening at 6:00, assuming we have lights, I guess, at this point. And I also want to give everyone a heads up, and we'll give you more details in December. But in January, we're going to be doing a community survey to help the board do its long-range planning for the community, kind of for the next 5 years. The last time as a community that we actually surveyed all of our residents and members was 8 years ago. And so a lot's changed in 8 years, and we want to give everyone the opportunity to give us some feedback. And so keep an eye on that. We'll be coming out with more information on that in December, and then it will actually be in your hands beginning in January with the new year. So we'll keep you posted on that. So are there any member comments on non-personnel issues?
Mr. President, I have no comments.
Perfect. Well, then let's go into the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through C on the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Right. All in favor of approving the consent agenda? Say
Aye.
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 Aye. Are there any opposed?
Hearing four in favor, motion carried.
All right. So we have a couple of committee member appointments tonight, and we'll begin with the appeals committee member. So Andre, you want to give us some info on that?
Okay, our appeals committee member appointment tonight will be Kelly Clement. She is currently an alternate on our board approver committee instead of an alternate at this time.
I'll make the motion to that. Anyone want to second it?
Second.
All right. Member comments? Anyone want to make a comment on that? Board comments? Discussion? Kelly's a fine individual, good resident. All in favor of approving Kelly to the appeals committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed?
Hearing four in favor, motion carries.
All right. Ken, you want to come back and talk to us about Security Advisory Committee?
So the Security Advisory Committee has been going through some change, and we have a member who has applied, and don't have my notes in front of me. I apologize. It's been a day. Saul has attended every meeting for the last few months. He is a retired law enforcement professional. I've had the opportunity to discuss with him many topics, and he's been at the administrative level with the San Bernardino. No, actually, it was Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department, where he was not the elected sheriff. He was the undersheriff, which is actually the person that does all the work running the agency and is not the elected official. So he is definitely a contender for this position, and based on his attendance so far, is enthusiastic to be there.
Make the motion?
Motion.
I'll second it. Any comments from the members on that, on this nomination? Board comments? I will add that he is an impressive individual. I like the fact he's been coming to the Security Advisory Committee meetings and his style for a person who is so qualified to be a participant, and he came in and just observed and listened and wanted to understand Canyon Lake before he even made any comments. I think he's a very soft-spoken, understated individual, but with a tremendous background. I think he'd be a terrific addition. Perfect.
Great guy. We couldn't have a better.
Mr. President, we also have on there as an alternate. Ken also has another.
Thank you. Yes,
person also.
we have an alternate, Chris Hickok.
Chris has had a time recently, and we're glad that he wants to come back, and having him come in as an alternate to give him time to ease back into that position seems to work for both the committee and him. So we would also like to bring him on back as an alternate.
Good. Okay, so this is a nomination for Saul as a member and for Chris as an alternate member, correct? All in favor of the nominations, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Hearing four in favor, motion carries.
Very good. Steve, come talk to us about North Ski Docks reserve funding.
Good evening. There are multiple aging docks in the POA that are showing need of replacement. All three North Ski docks have been requested to be replaced by clubs and committees. The current docks there were installed in the 90s, I believe in the late 90s, and are made of wood. They are showing signs of failure with wood, the wood frames cracking, joint separation, and deck deterioration. We'll be reusing the newer ramp that we installed on the largest of the three docks, I think back in 2019 and 2020 to reduce cost. Fiscal impact is $152,000 plus a $2,000 survey fee required by the Water District for approval, and a 5% contingency from a replacement 02670. Staff requests the Board of Directors approve the funding of $154,000 plus a 5% contingency from the Repair and Replacement Fund 02670 for replacement of all three docks in the North Ski area.
We have a motion. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any member comments on the proposed authorization? Board comments? None? Okay. I believe since we are doing a funding, we're going to do a roll call vote on this.
Okay, Director Bill,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Commission,
Aye.
Director Doherty,
Aye.
President Van Vliet.
Aye.
Hearing four in favor, motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And while we're at it, how about pavement engineering services? That's Eric?
Oh, wow. Apparently Eric was on it, saying you're good. What's his name?
Yeah. Okay, sorry for the confusion. So since 2021, the POA has performed a full depth reclamation and reconstruction on 2.7 million square feet and seal coating of 1.3 million square feet of our privately owned roads. GMU Pavement Engineering was the pavement engineering firm for both of these projects, known as Year 1 and Year 2 projects. These projects have been extremely successful, and GMU has performed above and beyond with our expectations. The request for GMU is now is going to be submitted their proposal to provide the pavement engineering for the next Year 3 project. This will perform testing, subsurface exploration, core samples, ground penetrating radar, lab testing, and develop plans, specification, and a bid package and RFP for the next phase of our multi-year road rehabilitation project. This year's scope of work includes seal coating of 1.4 million square feet of roads that was completed this year, and a full depth reclamation of another 325,000 square feet. The seal coat is essentially a sunblock for the roads that were done this year, and work is part of prudent pavement management program to keep them in good shape for many years. We estimate the cost of the year 3 project to be in the range of $3 to $3.5 million. The fiscal impact for the GMU performance of these services just described above is $74,006. It is recommended that the board of directors approve entering into a contract for year 3 pavement engineering services as described in the amount of $74,006 to come from the Road Reserve Fund 03670.
Is there a motion on this
So
item?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Perfect. Any member comments? Board comments? Yes.
So if any of you have watched the first 2 phases of our road project, which I do, if for no other reason, my street was done in the first phase. These are the folks that we have been hooked up with at the beginning, from the beginning, to manage this process. And for my money and for my eyes, from what I saw and what I see driving around the community, they have done a spectacular job. So for me, this is kind of a, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it type of a decision, because these folks are just, from what I can see, again, looks like the best of the best. So they're doing a good job.
Yeah, I'll add to that too, Greg. So thanks for that. We recently got a report, very recently, from on what the status of our roads are, and our road, based on the work that's been done in the last, is it 3 years now, Eric? Yeah. Before that. But yeah, our road and pavement index has increased substantially, and now we've covered over 50% of the roads, right? In total, how many?
40%.
40%.
Of all 12. Probably a little more.
Okay.
We added, so in the
Okay, so we still have work to go, but the people that have been contracted have done an outstanding job. So I concur, Greg. I think it's well done, and look forward to more. All in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
We need a roll call. Funding item. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
do
we
it that
can
way.
do roll call. Director Bill,
Aye.
Director Commission,
Aye.
Director Doherty,
Aye.
President Van Vliet,
Aye.
hearing 4 in favor, motion carries.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Eric, it's up to you. All righty.
Thank you all for coming. Busy night in Canyon Lake. Our parking lot was full. The line for voting at about 10 after 5 was all the way down to Canyon Cowboy, which was kind of cool to see. As we've been talking about, our year 2 paving project is now complete. We added the main gate entry lanes at the tail end of that project because we were under budget, and we're still under budget even though we took care of that very prominent part of our asphalt maintenance. So we should be good there for a few years. We also seal coated all of our parking lots, which were done several years ago, and they all look great. Fresh seal coating and striping. And the board just approved hiring our pavement engineering firm, GMU, who has been with us since, I don't think, they didn't do our Happy Camp and they didn't do our parking lots, but they have done our year 1 and our year 2 very successfully and managed our pavement condition index. And they've been just fantastic to work with. And so thank you for approving that. And they will now go to work with, we'll execute a contract with them, and they'll go to work on putting together the plans and specs and bid documents for the year 3 project, next year's project. So we're excited about that. And next year we plan to do about $3.5 million worth of work. Last month, Perry left. Can't say as I blame him. But thank you to the Car Club and Activities and Perry and Donna and everybody for all their hard work and another great car show. We had a great concert here in the Holiday Bay Room last Saturday. Chase Beckham. I was sadly out of town and I missed it, but I heard it was a great event and it sold out. So thank you, Doug Schultz, for working so hard on bringing name brand talent to our little room here. And if you look in the staff reports, as usual, we have activities as a full report, communications and operations have full reports. Activities is busy working on, there's a senior holiday boutique coming up November 9th and 10th. And planning is underway for the tree lighting and other holiday events. And that's all I have this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. All right, let's wrap it up with board comments. Beginning with Jeff.
Well, first, I want to thank Bill and Linda for sticking around when everybody else left. You're obligated. You have a contract with the president. So, but no, seriously, I thank you for sticking around. It's always better to have people at these. We look for feedback from the community. We don't want to just go and do things without the feedback. I'd also like to remind everybody about the coffee with the mayor and with Darcy tomorrow morning. For those of you online, it's the country club tomorrow morning around 7:15, 7:30. It's a good place to ask questions, informal setting. The things that she talked about tonight, she can cover those in more detail tomorrow. So I'd highly recommend people go to that. And last thing I'd like to say, Veterans Day is coming up. Don't forget what it's for. You know, we have a veteran right here in the audience that we appreciate. And we have, we have a lot to be thankful for from our veterans. So there will be, was it the Holiday Harbor? Holiday Harbor will be having a Veterans Day celebration 1 to 4 at Holiday Harbor. Other than that, I'm done.
Thank you, Jeff. Joe.
Well, I'm always preparing my committee reports. I see I'll give you a brief update on my committees. First of all, the golf course is back open after 3 weeks of closure for overseeding. With the golfers, it's which hole is the first hole, but they figured it out, and I guess things are running smoothly. TWG is back to work after being off all summer. They have 408 hours in October, doing a lot of work. They had a special crew work on removal of the old bronze signs and preparing the rocks for the new signs, which just came in a few days ago. And I had a report today that 7 of the new signs have been installed already. So TWG is doing a great job. And lastly, I liaison to the Green Committee. They're working on a number of different items. Evaluating options for limiting golf cart sizes, as there's some concern about the size of golf carts today. Bunker project, which is hopefully coming up soon. Tree program that they're working on constantly. And hole number 2 had a renovation of the teeing area that got completed during the course closure. No interruption to the golf course. So it's been a busy time around the golf course. Thank you.
I would like to echo what Jeff said about the event the city's putting on Veterans Day. It should be great. It's from 1 to 4. My favorite part of those events is the flyover, which is going to occur right around 3 o'clock. So don't miss it. It should be a fun day. I also would like to give a report on the committee to which I'm liaison. That's the Recreation Committee. After a little bit of delay, we now have approved some new benches at Roadrunner Park. There's a horseshoe pit and a cornhole pit right next to each other there, but nowhere to sit. So now we're going to have some benches installed there so people can sit down and rest. We also got approved another dog relief station near Indian Beach. It's kind of a funny story because when we started to look at that, we actually got an email from a member that we needed more of those. So actually, we said, well, we better find out where the existing ones are. And lo and behold, we call Steve, and Steve's got a map of all the dog relief stations in Canyon Lake. Who knew? So If anybody wants one of those, any of you dog lovers or dog owners want a map of the doggy relief stations in Canyon Park, just contact Steve. He's got that. The other thing we got approved is two pathways at Happy Camp from the road nearest to the lake, which actually is part of Longhorn Drive. I didn't know that, but it actually is part of Longhorn. Two paths from the road down to the water, so people don't have to walk through someone's RV pad to take a swim in the swim areas. So they're going to be marked by split rail fences from the road down to the water. There's going to be signage that says, if you want to go, to the swim area, here's the way you go. So we also got those approved. So we had a couple of wins on the recreation committee, and we feel pretty good about that. We're looking at a couple of other things now. One is sand replenishment at Little Beach, which is at Little Beach right near the tennis court, which actually I think a lot of people don't know about that. I had to go over there myself about a year ago and look at it, but it's very popular with a few people. And the sand is sort of eroded, and so they're looking at that. And the other is another cornhole facility at Sunset Beach. The issue most likely is, where would it go, and so forth. So they're looking at those things. So the recreation committee is very active, I'm happy to say. And again, back to the event on Monday. I hope you all can make it out there. It should be a nice event. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Well, I think my fellow directors have covered and Eric have covered it all, so I don't have any further comments as far as that. I'll just add one thing, and that is the next time we get together will be December 3rd. And so there is a major holiday other than Veterans Day coming up between now and then, which is Thanksgiving. And I just want to add, I believe strongly that we have a unique and amazing community here with incredible people like Perry and other members that work for the benefit of the community. And I want to I'm thankful for that. I'm also thankful for our staff. There are a lot of comments that we get coming in are what's going on with things, but we have an excellent staff. And I want to thank all of them for all of their hard work and dedication and all the things they do to make this such a great place. So thank you. With that, let's adjourn for 5 minutes. I think we have an appeal tonight, and then we'll adjourn for people who aren't part of the appeals, and then we'll reconvene. To those who are leaving, good night. Thank you. Have a good night. All right, let's reconvene. We have an appeal. Dave, you want to lead us through that, please? Page 97 in our board books.
This is for 3719056, which is 22621 Canyon Lake Drive South. Basically, the member submitted an application for solar panels, which was approved over the counter, and the permit was issued on January 24th, 2023. That's Exhibit 1. The ACC committee reviewed the over-the-counter permit for final approval on February the 2nd, and they were given 180 days to complete. The inspection was conducted on August 14th, 2024, but the permit could not be signed off due to non-completion, missing roof tiles. These are pages 19 through 21. But they're actually exhibits. Let's pick 9, 11, and 13. They're pretty much the ones you want to look at. Okay. A member contacted staff via email. She requested 90 days extension to bring into compliance. That was granted by the planning compliance staff. Letter of confirmation was sent September 3rd, 2023. The member submitted an application to the ACC committee for appeal. Previous homeowner repaired the leaky roof in 2020. The permit was issued. Roof and home passed POA inspection before the member purchased the home in July of 2021. Mm-hmm. Then the new owner wanted solar, and the committee obviously approved the solar over the counter. The member scheduled an appeal with the committee. We have a list of appeals. The first appeal was meeting on February 2nd, 2023. Then that was for the mounting brackets and the roof to match. The second was meeting denied on December 7th, 2023. That's on page 3. Roof tiles need to be installed up to the solar panels per PC 5.3, and that is a CCNR. The third meeting, it was denied on December 23rd, 2023. Matching roof tiles needed to be installed for the solar panels and additional panels. There were 2 more meetings and there was basically no change. It was our understanding, basically, as the committee, that the original owner, prior to the solar panel, had a roof leak, wanted it repaired, and left the incorrect tiles to go under the solar panels. And then when the solar panels were to be installed by the new owner, they were supposed to be covered on the edges that don't match, which is PC 5.3. And that was never done. The member came to us a couple of times. At first, she said it was my understanding she was going to try and comply, and then she couldn't find the correct panels. If you look at exhibit number 8, those were panels that could possibly have matched. Number 7 was another member up in the estates that applied to do a roof on a garage, and he submitted that. And from that, I just had an aha moment was, okay, well, these would match hers also. And that's item number 7. So it's the committee's opinion that these could be matched and it could be brought into compliance. This is visible from the golf course.
Thank you, David. Ari, if you want to come forward and sit, you're both welcome to sit there. And this is your opportunity to give your appeal and your side of the situation here.
Good evening. I've been researching this to get into compliance as the board has asked me, the committee. Can you tell me again what you were proposing with another member?
We found that the concrete tiles were available. The other member came up with, and they just happened to have a garage that they were going to do. And they submitted their application and it had pictures of what they were going to use.
Okay. Is it the same as my roof, the same material and color?
It's very close.
Okay. I spoke with several different roofing companies. All but one said they can't do it. One said they can do it. However, they said that the tile color will not match. And one of the issues is that I also need to bring in the solar company back for them to remove and reinstall the conduit. And it has to be the original solar company so as not to void the warranty on the panels. When I spoke with the previous homeowner, the Williams, to ask them about the work they did on the roof before I purchased the home, he told me he could not find the same material and color to match. So he did a different material. That patch of the roof, it is a different material and color. He said it worked out for the best because he was getting that portion of the roof ready to put in solar panels. They ended up selling the house. I'm the one who actually installed the solar panels, and that's where the panels went. I have tried to bring this in compliance as requested by the committee. When I last spoke with them, they said if the tile colors do not match, then I should get them painted. Like I should bring them a sample, and then they can let me know if it's approved or not before I go ahead with the installation. So I actually spoke with Brian Hoffman. He's a resident here in Canyon Lake, and he's the owner of Hoffman Painting. And we were conversing via email and text. And I emailed him the before and after pictures of my roof, before and after the solar panels were installed, that the solar company had taken. And this is what he wrote me. He said, "We can paint it, but it's definitely not a long-term fix. You might get 7 to 10 years out of it. I don't recommend painting a roof unless it's just an ugly roof and you eventually plan on changing it." And then he said his personal opinion, "Looking at the pictures you sent, it's not that bad, even if a couple are not matching." So, with all of the estimates that I've received, this is upwards of about $15,000 to do what the committee is asking me to do. And it sounds like every 7 to 10 years, if I'm lucky, maybe sooner, I'd have to repaint those tiles. And that may also involve having the solar company come out every single time to remove and reinstall the conduit, which right now, that on its own is an estimate of $6,600. So that's an estimate as of today. Who knows how much it will be in a few years. For the amount of money I'm expected to spend, it's not a good long-term solution. And furthermore, my solar guy is also a resident of Canyon Lake. He's John Grande with Canyon Lake Solar. He went out and he took pictures of what my roof looks like from the golf course. And he zoomed in on it as well. And his personal opinion is that aesthetically, it does not look displeasing. So there's more than a few residents here in Canyon Lake who do not think it looks aesthetically bad. And I'm trying to comply, but the research that I've done, it doesn't seem feasible. So I'm trying to figure out what to do.
Okay. Any board members have questions or comments you'd like to ask?
First, Aria, I want to say thank you for your service. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate your positive presence on social media. You're one of a very few.
Thank you.
My question is, the tiles that you have that you can't match, the brown ones, and then the ones you have under the solar, can you just switch to those? Are they easier to find? Like the ones in the picture here, the gray ones, would that be an easier fix?
That's the very issue. They want me to match what's underneath. That's the part that the previous owner repaired to the majority of the roof, that being the concrete tiles. That's the tile that when I spoke with several roofing companies told me they cannot find it. It's the same issue the previous homeowner had. And one company, and they're actually here, the residents of Canyon Lake, they said they can do it, but it's not going to be an exact color match.
Well, I have a question for Dave. And I've been through the situation myself. I did an addition on our house, and the old roof was 20 years old. The new roof was new, and I couldn't get an exact duplicate. However, that said, is it possible to get something that's close?
Positively.
Close in the sense that I'm not going to have the tiles painted because that paint job will not last very long.
Close in the sense that your tiles are kind of a grayish color, as we can see by the pictures. And some of the examples that we have found, like on number 7 that I submitted to the board, they're pretty close.
Okay.
I mean, you'd have to hold them, but if you get close, it would look a whole lot better from the golf course than this does. And it would be a lot closer to being compliant with PC 5.3 and the CCNR.
That code, when was it last updated? What year?
Oh, I'd have to look that up.
I
don't have that information.
If you could look that up and let me know,
You can
please,
go into planning compliance.
and ask them,
Ask for anybody at the counter and they can give you a copy of everything I go by.
and they would let me know what year that code was last updated?
Positively.
Because that's something I'm interested in knowing. I'm just relaying to you what the professionals told me. I spoke to 4 different roofing companies, and all but one said that they can do it, but the one that said they can do it said the caveat is it's not going to be a color match. Now, I can go and speak with them again, and I can say, show me a sample of what you're talking about, bring it into the board, and move forward from there.
That's exactly what I did when I had to do mine. Is I took an old tile and brought 3 samples of new tiles, and I said, "Will this work?" And that's how I got through this situation personally. And I know they worked with me on that.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next, and we'll take it from there.
I think what they're asking is the ACC is asking, and doesn't have to do the stuff under the solar panels. Is all the areas around
Exposed around, not under.
exposed around it.
Right.
Okay, so not
it's the
you don't have to go
gaps.
underneath.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
they
it-
do solar, and a lot of homes have the exact same thing, and they just have to put the tiles back on.
Okay.
And a lot of them don't match exactly, but they're really close. And we're pretty flexible. If you try and work with us, we try and work with you.
Okay, because I was told it has to be a material and color match. So
It has to be a very close match, but like he just said, he submitted 3 different ones himself. And as long as they're the correct material,
Mhm.
which is the lightweight concrete.
Okay, so I'll go back to that one company that said they can do it. We'll get the samples and bring it in for approval. See which color works best. And yes, my understanding is the gaps in between the panel and the different roof material needs to be filled in. It's not underneath the solar, right?
That's
Okay.
right. Not under the solar, but the gaps that we're seeing here.
Okay. So that'll be my next step. I'll see what they have to say.
Can I make a suggestion? Have you spoken to Dan's Roofing?
I don't believe so.
I'm not making an endorsement. I'm just telling you that I'm just a suggestion. I had because of the last wind event we had, I had some rake tiles which go on the hips, blow off and break. And I just found on the internet there's a place in not far from Costco in Elsinore off Highway 74 called Classic Roof Tile, and it's a boneyard for discontinued tile. And so when they do tear offs, roofers will sell the old tile to this place that has discontinued tile colors. I went and found an exact match for my house, which is 25 years old. And I have no idea if they're affiliated, but it's in the same building as Dan's Roofing. And we've used Dan's Roofing here in the POA. So if you can't find the tile, there is a place like 5 miles from here that has old discontinued tile. There's a pretty good chance you'll find a match or something very close.
I'll look into that. My
Okay.
home's a little older than yours. It was built in 1988. So
Mine
I'll
was
look into it.
1987.
Oh, okay.
And I
But at
found,
the time,
well,
yours was 25 years
it may
old.
have,
The
it was
roof-
probably re-roofed, to be honest. So the tile may be a little newer, but they have a pretty good variety. It's a whole yard full of 20-year-old tile. So
Okay, I'll look into
All right.
that as well. Okay, thank
So do
you.
we need to do something as far as a motion
Thank
on
you.
this to help us to, so
I guess you could just make a motion that you're going to refer them back to ACC and she's going to work with
Perfect.
them regarding it.
so we'll make the motion.
What she would need to do is put in an application, a changed application, just for the tiles and put it into planning compliance. Not hard to do.
Put in the permit.
Yes.
Okay.
An application to obtain a permit. Yes.
An
An application to obtain a permit.
application to obtain the permit.
Yes.
Okay. I can do that tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay.
But you might want to go ahead and do that, letting them know that you're going to have to bird dog, if you will, the tiles that are going to kind of match, and then get something that's close, and then go through the committee. And I don't think it'll be really hard for you.
Okay. If that was not my understanding, but if I'm allowed to do that to come into compliance, that I will pursue that avenue.
No, when I talked to the roofers, they said the same thing. They said, you'll never match it. Exactly. So
Well, the point
I've been
that
down
was-
this road with, like you have.
The point that was brought up to me is that the color of the roof is due to aging.
It is.
So it's not ever going to
Yeah.
be an exact color match, truthfully.
Kind of like if you have a 10-year-old car or a 20-year-old car and you get hit and the paint doesn't exactly match. It's a similar thing. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but they'll work with you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Arya.
Thank you.
Did we have a first and a second? Maybe I missed it. Sorry.
I'll make the motion that we recommend that she submit an application for a permit to adjust the roofing tiles. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing four in favor, motion carries.
The last item then is, before we make a motion to close, I want to notify everyone who remains and is not in the room, but maybe on camera, that the POA office will be closed on Monday in honor of Veterans Day. So while you cannot go to the POA and do business, please come to Holiday Harbor and celebrate our veterans with us in the afternoon. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
We have a first and a second. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Hearing four in favor, meeting adjourned at 7:06.